Krass finde ich, dass jeder Bürger so seine Rolle hat. Und die das alles berechnen müssten. Ja, ich gehe erstmal hier hin. Gerade raus. Da oben lang, ja. Und dann rechts abbiegen und ganz weit nach oben. Ich finde, für mich gerade zu mächtig. Können wir eigentlich nichts. Die Mauer heißt der Roger. Das muss ja unangenehm sein. Die Mauer ist ja irgendwie. Abgezogen. Ist es dahin oder links? Genau, links lang. Also wir gehen erstmal dahin, wo wir waren. Oh ne, hier ist ein Shortcut. Aber wir sind von der Seite gekommen. Das heißt, wir können einfach da hochgehen und hier runter und es aufmachen. Oh, es gibt so viel zu tun. Dann gehen wir doch da lang. Wo wir gerade eben erst waren. Genau, hier könnten wir eigentlich auch aufmachen. Wenn man von der anderen Seite kommt, aber wir machen jetzt den einen Shortcut auf. Das sind überall Gutscheine. Das sieht aus wie ein guter Ort für einen Showdown da drin. Coming soon, GM. So, quatschen wir wieder mit den Leuten.
It's locked, all right.
Leicht verwirrt.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Er hasst Scientists, glaube ich.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Oh.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in our country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Den zauber ich definitiv aus.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Ach so. damit sie nicht mit den Kunden oder mit denen schlafen. Was ist mit dem los, ey?
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
Well, you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task
Your
is
lack
to
of faith
convince
is
rational
predictable,
minds
wasn't
like
it?
yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Ich glaube, er mag keinen.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Oh, wohin?
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Okay. Den kann man nicht so leicht klein kriegen. Krass, dass man so hohe Stufe braucht.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Wow. Wie viel Charakter die den Leuten lieben.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Ich halte
Do
ihn
you
mal.
need any assistance?
Sie weiß bestimmt viele
It
Sachen.
depends on the price of your medicine.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your concern, Doctor.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed, or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
Kommen wir der Sache näher. Aber warum?
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Er ist schon ein bisschen klugscheißerisch, aber ich kann es nicht ändern. Ich brauche die Fragen.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Die Presse mag mich echt. Ich glaube, er ist so ein... Naja, hier wird ja alles
Do
verprasst.
you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
Die sind alle krank.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I must confess, some of my rational views have been shaken by recent events.
I'll remember to stay away from the district's roughest streets then.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
Ja, wegen dem Krieg ist es halt demoralisierend, das mag sein, aber Menschen wird ja nicht geholfen.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand. We live in an intolerant and divided nation.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote, I'm convinced things will change.
Interessante
Goodbye,
Zeit.
Mr. Darby.
Der hat bestimmt
Farewell.
viele Infos. Ist wie bei am Heilen. Kommen gar nicht hinterher. Wir sind unserer Quest immer noch nicht näher gekommen.
And I'm clean, I promise.
Die Geldbord sollte gesehen nicht cheap sein, oder? Ich glaube, hier ist genau unser Gatter. Die Abkürzung. Sehr schön.
How long have we known each other? We even used to be neighbours, for Christ's sake.
I'd prefer not to give you another beating, Barrett.
Okay, der will irgendwas von dem.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
Right then. Show me what you have.
Davon brauche ich 3. Oh, ich habe nur 2. Der hat nur 2, schade.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse, then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
So she's trying to help her fellow immigrants. Why would that make her a villain?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most.
Oh,
And I
so
don't remember
riesig.
asking for your service, sir.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You are a criminal who endorses criminal activity. The least you could do is stop hiding behind this pretense.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons. And that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Die Red
Not
Boot Boys
familiar with
treiben
this
auch hier ein.
neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
3. Alle, die ich töten will, kann ich nicht so leicht töten.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Sie will es heimlich machen. Okay, Hinweise kriegen wir noch nicht. Ja, wahrscheinlich von den Docs. Interessante Sachen hier. Krass, wie viele Sachen es gibt. So, das können wir entfernen. Das haben wir ja schon geöffnet. Oh, da ist einer aufgetaucht. Ich bin ganz schön weit gelaufen. Das ist echt ein Akt, zum Krankenhaus zurückzukommen. Schauen wir einmal rum. Wir haben ja noch andere Sachen zu tun. Da müssen wir noch hin. Und wir haben Untersuchungen wieder neue. Auf dem Friedhof. Reden welche.
flower of Whitechapel. An angel made flesh, I tell you.
Ich glaube, er ist ein Schauspieler.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott, at your service.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for the city. Oh, no, sir.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet, nowhere to be found. And
Erinnert mich an die Corona-Zeit.
listen to this oddly peaceful silence.
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave. You have a unique perspective on the situation, I must admit.
Most people fail to understand my perspective.
Ich kann
I
sie
don't blame
einerseits
them,
schon verstehen,
but
aber
how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my
es
feelings?
ist schwer, solche Sachen zu sagen.
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk.
Ohne Leute halt auf den
Though night talks are
Toten zu
always
treten.
preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of the flu.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
Sind wir alle krank?
Do you need
Ja.
medical attention, sir?
It may be wise to let you prescribe me something. I don't feel like I should.
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more careful.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate your concern, sir.
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you?
Well, you for a start, my dear doctor.
Der Typ ist echt sorgenfrei.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, doctor, and my family despises me.
Typischer Künstler.
Did you know the mute florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious camellia.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
Are you
Er ist
not
wenigstens
curious?
ehrlich, muss man schon sagen.
Is there not more you wish to
Sehr
know?
direkt.
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles and the added hunger under the rain.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox, the stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On
Doch,
the
er weiß das.
contrary, sir, Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much, and that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
Sicher.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she survives? Whom she may know?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
Ja, kann das nachvollziehen. Das ist so ein Phänomen, wenn bestimmte Leute in Mysterien hüllen, bewusst oder unbewusst, dann nehmen die sie als interessanter wahr. Push-and-Pull-Technik. Ich habe einen Shortcut aufgeschlossen. Schon mal gut. Dafür musst du ja nicht mal viele Leute umbringen.
An angel made flesh, I tell you.
Lieder aus der besiegten Stadt. Wird nicht gedruckt. Der kriegt kein Buch, weil er nicht seinen Titel ändern will von der besiegten Stadt. Nur wegen dem Titel.
Mr. Nethercott.
And good evening to you too, my good sir. Can I be of any help?
You don't really make a living from your scribblings, do you, Richard?
No, sir, I don't. I work so hard. I put all my time, my energy, my devotion into the precise carving of words.
Still, you don't seem to suffer from poverty.
With thanks to my parents, actually. I'm afraid I would not be able to live on my own without their help.
You seem embarrassed.
Someday I hope to proudly offer my first publication to my parents. Until that day, I'll remain the failure of a son they have to support.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Ich kann auch fast niemanden mesmerisieren, wenn meine Stufe nicht steigt. So ein bisschen schwierig. Los, Camilla. Wir müssen noch was anderes holen. Und zwar gehen wir jetzt weiter in die Stadt. Immer noch weiter. Hierhin müssen wir. Das ist echt weit weg, muss ich sagen. Oh.
Hello again, miss. Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia. Very well. Goodbye then.
Ich glaube, es ist gar nicht gut, wenn ich ihr so viele Fragen stelle. Ehrlich gesagt, weil sie dann einfach alles weiterredet, oder? Meine Güte. Ich glaube, hier ist abgeschlossen, oder? Nee. Sollen wir hier rechts abbiegen? Das schimpfen zwei miteinander.
Fuck you all! Fuck it all! Stop it now,
Oh, sollte ich nicht einschreiten?
I'll not die in some stinking alley reeking worse than a week-old lavvy.
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
Medication and drugs are a rare commodity in East London. So you picked an easy target, didn't you?
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off. Go find yourself another guide.
Do you need assistance?
Please. Feeling tired these days.
Ich glaube, die sind alle krank hier.
There you go. Let's hope nobody steals it from you.
Very funny.
Das war richtig gut.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything about her, I'd appreciate it.
Never heard of her. She's pretty, I'll keep an eye out.
Das ist ein dummer Junge.
Goodbye, young man.
Ciao.
Boots will be proud of me.
Ne, glaub nicht.
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills.
Mein Sohn.
Everything's coming up roses.
Crazy.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and it's where I live now.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. And now I'm just Ben. Ben the Tramp.
You don't have anywhere to go? No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife. Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy he just frayed me last nerve.
What is it, Benjamin? It was the war, wasn't it? Your nerves are shot, aren't they? I need some answers, Private. From one soldier to another.
The doctors called me a liar, a coward. Put me in a straitjacket, locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
Yes. Sounds like shell shock. I've seen a few cases like yours. This is nothing you should be ashamed of, Benjamin. And it's perfectly natural in your situation.
I'm not ashamed. I just need my pills. Peace and quiet.
Er hat auch
that's
diese
all.
Migräne-mäßige, aber ich habe keine Mittel gegen
Do you
Migräne.
know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Me? I'll not die in some piss-stinking alley reeking worse than a week-old lavvy.
Ich könnte die beide essen, aber ich möchte gerne mehr wissen über den.
Goodbye, young man.
Also der Vater von dem wäre ein Kandidat. Den kann ich, glaube ich, nicht heilen. Wir könnten ihn einfach von seinem Schicksal erlösen. Klingt zwar grausam, aber wir haben noch niemanden gegessen. Meine Doktoren sind überfordert.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Wow.
Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Doctor
Die
Jonathan.
mag mich gleich nicht mehr.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Swanborough. Der Bruder.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Okay.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Ich weiß nicht, was ich verkaufen soll.
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money.
Vielleicht sollten wir den essen. Ich glaube, ich habe Lust, den zu essen. Es wäre schade um den Jungen, aber der macht, glaube ich, eh
Good
nichts.
evening, Benjamin. Can I help you?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reed.
Sehr, sehr ein schlimmes Leben. Ich glaube nicht, dass ich... Ich probiere einfach mal, den zu essen. Bevor er zu viel Leben verliert. Er hat fast seinen Jungen umgebracht. Ich meine, egal wie jemand verwirrt ist, ich weiß nicht, ob ich ihn retten könnte. Da bräuchte ich aber erst die Migräne-Sache. Und dann ist noch sein Junge, der ist ein Arsch. Oder liegt auch jemand tot? Nö. Der hat mit so einer Gesicht-Face-Mask. Wir essen jetzt unser ersten Bürger. Ist nicht meine leckerste Speise, aber... So ein Drama.
I'm not afraid anymore. I died in this trench a long time ago.
Nicht, dass ich gerne Leute aussauge.
It's locked.
Aber was für ein... Sie wird dadurch bald Konsequenzen deines Handelns ja, ich meine ja nur, ich kann ja nicht... So Leiche. Nur der Junge halt.
When science fails you, this
So, wir waren immer noch nicht bei dem Typen hier.
elixir will give you faith again.
Wir sind fast da. Der ist in dem Haus hier.
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems.
Der Typ hatte ein schlechtes Leben und ist eine Gefahr für seinen Sohn oder für... Ich meine...
It's locked, all right.
Ernsthaft? Einmal rum, einmal rum. Ja.
Good evening, sir. Do you remember me?
If you're here for a reward, you'll be sorely disappointed. But I'll gladly shake the hand of a fellow countryman.
I'm not here for a bounty. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed from the Pembroke.
A doctor? In Whitechapel? What an opportunity. My name's Bates. Cadogan Bates.
Do you require assistance, Mr. Bates?
Not me, but your skills could help a lot of people round here. That would help my business, because I say, a live tenant's a paying tenant.
I want to know everything about the recent violence, Cadogan. And I want the truth.
Well, rent may be a bit high, and yeah, I've had to evict a few people. But that's business, isn't it?
Das wird er nicht machen.
I don't believe even you deserve such a cruel fate, though you have tested my patience beyond its limit.
Glad to hear. Nice to know there's another civilized individual in these parts. Not like those bloody savages.
You seem to have recovered well since your attack. Do you ever think about what happened?
Not much. It was a fucking nightmare. Savages, absolute bloody savages. Their appearance. Jesus. It made me want to puke.
You'd better not come back here. I won't be around next time to save you. I'm looking for Dorothy Crane. She's a nurse. What can you tell me about her?
Dorothy Crane. Bless her soul. I really should thank her someday.
Has she treated you?
No. When I need a checkup, I'd go to a bloody doctor, not some back alley clinic full of sick foreigners.
Tell me, what's your honest opinion of the increasing violence in London?
People are just beginning to discover what we've always known. This city
Das ist echt krass, wenn jeder Bürger eine Bedeutung hat für den Bezirk
What do you mean?
und die Bürger
like the violence is news.
und die
There's always
Wirtschaft.
been savage down here. It just bubbles to the surface every now and again.
What help could I possibly be to your business?
That's simple. I already get good money from all those fleeing the war. Can you imagine what they'd be willing to pay if I could offer medical assistance too?
Mr. Bates, do not make me regret saving your life in this quarantine zone.
I understand, Dr. Reed, you're from a good family. Don't want to get your hands dirty. That's fine. I'll be happy to act as your middleman.
Ja, Geld interessiert mich nicht. Ich komme aus gutem Hause.
I'm no saint, but to take advantage as you do, you are a despicable man who could only prosper in these dark times.
So it's a no then. That's too bad. The Reed tonic could have really helped people, you know, save lives. Isn't that what you do? I mean, people buy that Swamborer's shit.
What is your business exactly?
I offer fair lodgings for a modest price to the poor and weary of Whitechapel.
I see. And what about those who cannot pay?
Well, deals can be done, if you know what I mean. Money's not the only currency. After all, I'm not immune to a pretty face.
Was ist das für ein Typ?
In other words, you take advantage of these poor lost souls.
Begging your pardon, I thought you was a man who could appreciate the complexity of the modern world. Things ain't just black and white, you know.
Ich glaube auch nicht so schwarz und weiß, ist aber einfach so krass Profit zu schlagen aus dem Leid anderer. Ist halt schon ein bisschen moralisch fragwürdig. Ich heile ihn mal, damit ich später essen kann.
Can I be of assistance?
Well, seen better days, that's for sure. but it was bound to happen with all these refugees about.
Infecting you is probably the last thing on these people's minds. Take this, in any case.
What? You give me this for free? Don't have a clue about this place, do
Hippokratisch
you?
vereilt. Ich habe wahrscheinlich so viele Leute jetzt geheilt. Ich werde mal Cadogan Bates auf meine Hungerliste stellen, weil den werde ich definitiv essen.
I don't see why I should shed a tear for another man's woes. I'm healthy, and I intend to stay so.
Wie viel brauchen wir für den? 1. Den esse ich, wenn er gesund ist. Definitiv.
Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
Er ist schon nah so. Ich mag ihn nicht. Deswegen werde ich dich essen. Ich habe jetzt eine Hungerliste.